I have seen many excuses in my courtroom. I didn't see the sign. I was late for work, but I have never had a defendant tell me that my laws were obsolete code, until Saxon Musk walked in. He is one of the sons of Elon Musk, the richest man on Earth, and the man who wants to leave it. Saxon apparently shares his father's vision because he walked into the courtroom looking like he was dressed for a trip to Mars. He wore a silver reflective bomber jacket, baggy gray cargo pants, and dark wraparound sunglasses that looked like a VR headset. He didn't look at the gallery. He didn't look at the flag. He walked straight to the podium, moving with a strange, stiff precision. "Remove your sunglasses, please," I requested as he settled in. Saxon tapped the side of his glasses. A small blue light blinked. "They are not sunglasses," he replied. His voice was flat, emotionless. "They are augmented reality interfaces. I am currently monitoring the stock price of Tesla and the telemetry of Starship Flight 4. If I remove them, I lose data connectivity." "You are in a courtroom," I said firmly. "The only data you need is right here. Take them off." Saxon sighed, a sound of pure annoyance. He slid the glasses off and placed them on the table with extreme care. He looked at me with cold, analytical eyes. "Data stream interrupted," he muttered. "Fine, let's proceed with this. Analog interaction." "State your name," I said. "Saxon," he said. "Serial number, Musk08. "Mr. Musk," I corrected him. "Case number 3000X. The charge is reckless endangerment and failure to yield." I opened the police report. It was alarming. The report states that you were driving a Tesla Cybertruck on Wickenden Street. A police officer signaled for you to pull over because you were driving on the wrong side of the road. "Correction," Saxon interrupted, raising a finger. "I was not driving. The vehicle was operating on FSD, full self-driving version 12.5. I was merely the passenger in the command seat. The car's neural net decided that the left lane had less friction. It was optimizing the route. The officer says he had his lights and sirens on for 2 miles, I continued, ignoring his jargon. "And you didn't stop. You ignored a direct order from law enforcement." "Because the order was illogical," Saxon stated, as if it were obvious. "Why should I interrupt the machine's learning process? The car needs edge case data. Stopping for a noisy car with flashing lights disrupts the algorithm. I was training the AI. I stared at him. He truly believed that training a computer was more important than public safety. "Mr. Musk," I said, leaning forward, "you were in a school zone. There were children crossing. If that computer made a mistake, you could have killed someone." Saxon shrugged. "Statistically unlikely. The car has faster reaction times than any biological entity in this room, including you. Humans are the error. The machine is the solution." "You think humans are an error?" I asked, my voice dropping. "I think humans are a transitional species," Saxon replied coldly. "We are messy, we are slow, and we cling to outdated rules, like speed limits and stop signs. On Mars, there will be no stop signs, only velocity." I closed the file. The arrogance was different from the others. It wasn't just ego, it was a god complex. "Well, Mr. Musk," I said, "I have bad news for you. We are not on Mars." I pointed to the floor. "We are in Providence, Rhode Island. And down here, on Earth, the biological entities are still in charge." "Officer Quinn," I signaled the bailiff. "The defendant seems to think he is a passenger. Let's show him what happens when he has to take the wheel." I signaled to the clerk, Officer Martinez, to dim the lights. The large LCD monitor on the courtroom wall flickered to life. Usually traffic stop videos are chaotic, shaky cameras, loud engines, shouting, but the video that appeared on the screen was eerie. It was silent. The footage was from Officer Bennett's body camera. It was 3 p.m. on a Tuesday, right in the heart of the Wickenden Street school zone. The street was lined with slow children signs. In the center of the frame, moving like a silver shark through a school of fish, was the Tesla Cybertruck. I had seen pictures of them, of course, but on video, moving through a historic New England street, it looked wrong. It looked like a glitch in reality, a polygon of stainless steel that reflected the sun with blinding intensity. It didn't roll, it glided, no engine noise, just a high-pitched electronic whine that sounded like a dentist's drill. The officer's siren was blaring, a desperate wail against the silence of the machine. The Cybertruck ignored it. It kept moving at exactly 28 miles per hour, swerving slightly to avoid a crossing guard, who had to jump back onto the curb in terror. Finally, the vehicle came to a sudden, mechanical halt, not because it respected the siren, but because a garbage truck had blocked its path. Officer Bennett ran up to the driver's side, breathless. He slapped the steel door. "Driver, roll down the window, now!" The window didn't move. The glass was dark, tinted to an illegal opacity. You couldn't see inside. It looked like a monolith. Officer Bennett drew his baton, tapping harder on the armored glass. "Police, open the vehicle." For 10 agonizing seconds, nothing happened. Then a speaker hidden somewhere in the wheel crackled to life. It wasn't a human voice. It was a synthesized metallic projection of Saxon's voice, filtered to sound like a robot. "Warning," the voice boomed onto the street. "You are approaching a biosecure vessel. Proximity alert. Please maintain a distance of 3 meters to prevent contamination of the sensors." "Open the door," Bennett shouted, his hand going to his holster, "or I will break this glass." A laugh echoed from the car's speakers, a cold, digital laugh. "Break the glass?" Saxon's voice mocked. "This is Tesla armor glass. It can withstand a baseball thrown at 100 miles per hour. Your primitive stick will simply bounce off. Do not embarrass yourself, officer. It is bad for your algorithm." The window slid down, just a crack, an inch of space. Through the gap, we could see Saxon. He wasn't looking at the officer. He was wearing the AR headset, his hands resting on his lap, completely disengaged from the steering wheel. He was typing on a holographic keyboard that only he could see. "License and registration," Bennett demanded, trying to see into the cabin. Saxon didn't turn his head. He kept typing in the air. "I am busy," Saxon said. "I am currently mining Dogecoin on the car's mainframe. If I stop the process, I lose potential yield. You are interrupting a financial transaction." "You almost hit a crossing guard," Bennett yelled. "Step out of the car." Saxon finally turned. He looked at the officer through the dark lenses of his headset. "I didn't almost hit him," Saxon corrected. "The car calculated his trajectory. It knew he would jump. Fear is a predictable variable. The machine used his fear to clear the path. It was efficient." "You're under arrest for reckless endangerment." Bennett reached for the door handle. It was flush with the metal, locked tight. "Arrest?" Saxon scoffed. "You can't arrest me. I'm a user. You are just an NPC." "A what?" Bennett paused, confused. "An NPC," Saxon repeated slowly. "Non-playable character. You are background noise. You are code generated by the Matrix to slow me down. You have no agency. You have a badge, a gun, and a script. I am rewriting the script." The video ended with Officer Bennett having to call for backup to physically block the wheels of the truck because Saxon refused to disengage the autopilot. The lights in the courtroom came back on. The silence was heavy. The disrespect we had just witnessed wasn't just rude, it was existential. I turned my chair to face Saxon. He had put his AR glasses back on the table, but he looked bored. He was tapping his fingers on the wood, a nervous, high-speed rhythm. "Mr. Musk," I said, my voice low, "I want you to explain to this court what you meant by NPC." Saxon looked up. "It is a gaming term, Judge. It refers to entities that exist solely to populate the world. They have no inner life. They just follow loops. That officer, he wakes up, he puts on a uniform, he writes tickets, he sleeps. Loop, repeat. He is not changing the future. Therefore, he is irrelevant." I felt a cold anger rising in my chest. This was a dangerous ideology. It was the philosophy of a man who looks at humanity from a tower so high that people look like ants. "Irrelevant," I repeated. "That officer has 3 children. He coaches Little League on weekends. He saved a family from a burning building last year. He has a life, Mr. Musk, a life full of fear and love and courage." "Chemical reactions," Saxon dismissed. "Dopamine and serotonin, programmable." "And what are you?" I asked. "Are you the main character?" "I am an architect," Saxon said, straightening his silver jacket. "My father and I are building the next stage of civilization. We are merging with the machine. We are transcending biology. While that officer is worrying about traffic, I am thinking about how to terraform a planet." "You can't even navigate Wickenden Street." I slammed my hand on the desk. "You talk about terraforming Mars, but you can't drive through a school zone without terrifying a neighborhood." "The school zone is the problem," Saxon countered. "It is inefficient design. Children running randomly? Chaos. In the future, pedestrians will be geo-fenced. They won't be allowed on the transport layer." In your future, I corrected him. But you are not in the future, Saxon. You are here, now. I picked up the file. You called that officer a non-playable character. You dehumanized him to justify your arrogance. You think because you have a neural link and $1 billion, you are a god and he is just software. Well, I have a surprise for you, I said, leaning in close. This courtroom, it runs on very old software. It runs on a source code called consequences. And in this version of the simulation, Mr. Musk, the NPCs, have the power. Officer Quinn, I turned to the bailiff. Mr. Musk thinks he is a user. He thinks he is above the physical limitations of this world. I think it is time we introduced him to the most basic physical reality of all. Nature. Saxon looked confused. Nature. I don't understand. Are you sending me to a park? Oh no, I smiled grimly. A park is too designed, too clean. You want to save the planet? You want to be an environmentalist with your electric car? I am going to let you save the planet, literally, one dirty, muddy, organic step at a time. Saxon looked at me with genuine confusion. The concept of nature to him was probably a 4K screensaver or a terraformed biodome. He didn't understand that nature is messy, wet, and indifferent to your bank account. Nature, Saxon asked, tilting his head mechanically. I have studied Earth's biosphere. It is inefficient. It is full of pests, decay, and unoptimized weather patterns. Why would I want to interact with it? Because you are part of it, whether you like it or not, I said. You treat this planet like a waiting room for Mars. You think you can trash it, pave it, and drive over it because you're leaving soon. I pointed to his silver jacket and the high-tech glasses on the table. But before we get to your assignment, we need to address your hardware. I signaled to Officer Quinn. He placed a heavy lead-lined box on the defense table. It looked like a safe. Officer, please secure the defendant's uplink. Saxon recoiled, clutching his chest. My devices? No. Judge, you don't understand. I am running 3 neural net simulations on my phone. If I go offline, the learning model degrades. I need constant connectivity. You are going to be offline for a long time, I said. Put the phone in the box. Saxon hesitated. His hand shook. For a generation raised on screens, this was like asking him to cut off a limb. He slowly pulled out a sleek, buttonless titanium phone. He dropped it into the box. Clunk. The glasses, I ordered. But I need the HUD, heads-up display, Saxon pleaded. It tells me the air quality. It tells me the heart rate of people around me. Without it, I'm blind to the data. Use your eyes, I said. They are the original 8K cameras. Put them in the box. Reluctantly, Saxon dropped the AR glasses into the box. Officer Quinn slammed the lid shut and spun the lock. Saxon stood there, blinking. He looked smaller. Without the reflective glasses, his eyes looked scared. He kept reaching for his pocket, a phantom reflex. Now that you are unplugged, I said, let's look at your new interface. I reached behind my bench. I didn't pull out a gavel. I didn't pull out a pen. I pulled out a shovel. It wasn't a new shovel. It was old. The handle was weathered wood, splintered and stained with sweat. The metal blade was rusted and caked with dried mud. I slammed it onto the defense table. Thud. Dust flew into the air. Saxon jumped back, covering his nose with his sleeve. What is that? He gasped. It's filthy. Is that a biological contaminant? It's dirt, Saxon, I said. It's earth. The stuff you think is beneath you. Your father builds rockets, I continued. He builds machines to escape this planet. Well, you are going to do the opposite. You are going to help heal it. I am sentencing you to 500 hours of community service, I announced. But not just any service. You are going to the Seekonk River Wetlands Restoration Project. Saxon's eyes widened. Wetlands? You mean a swamp with mud and insects? Lots of mud, I confirmed. And no Cybertrucks allowed. The terrain is too rough for your autopilot. Your job, I explained, pointing to the shovel, is to plant trees, 1,000 saplings, by hand. You will dig the hole. You will place the roots. You will cover it with soil, and you will do it without a robotic arm to help you. Saxon looked at his hands, pale, manicured hands that had clearly never held anything heavier than a tablet. But Judge, he stammered, this is inefficient. I can write a check right now to plant 1 million trees. I can hire a drone fleet to drop seeds. Why make me do it manually? It's a waste of processing power. Because writing a check is easy, I said. It requires zero soul. When you dig a hole, Saxon, you have to sweat. You have to get blisters. You have to feel the resistance of the earth. You called people NPCs because you don't feel connected to them. Well, when you are knee-deep in mud, sweating alongside other volunteers, you are going to realize something. I leaned forward. You are not a user. You are just a man. And that mud? It treats billionaires and beggars exactly the same. It stains everyone. Saxon looked at the rusty shovel with horror. He looked like Superman being handed a chunk of kryptonite. I don't have the proper footwear, he whispered, looking at his Yeezy foam boots. These are made of algae foam. They aren't rated for swamp viscosity. Then I suggest you go to the Army surplus store, I said. Buy some rubber boots and buy some gloves, because tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. the simulation ends. And real life begins. Saxon stood there, staring at the rusty shovel as if it were an alien artifact. He touched the splintered wood handle with one finger, then pulled it back as if it had burned him. This is barbaric, Saxon whispered. This tool, it has no haptics. It has no feedback loop. How do I know when the task is complete? When the tree is in the ground and you are tired, I answered. That is the feedback loop. It's called effort. Saxon looked up at me, his eyes pleading. The cool, detached cyborg was gone. In his place was just a spoiled kid who was terrified of getting his hands dirty. Judge, please, he tried one last negotiation. I can code a bot to do this. I can design a solar-powered planter in 48 hours. It will be 500% more efficient than me digging with a stick. Why are you forcing me to be inefficient? Because you need to learn that you are not a machine, Saxon, I shouted, my voice echoing off the walls. You look at that police officer and you see code. You look at pedestrians and you see obstacles. You have forgotten what it feels like to struggle. A machine doesn't feel back pain. A machine doesn't get blisters. A machine doesn't feel the satisfaction of looking at a tree you planted with your own 2 hands. I am sending you to the mud not to punish you, but to upgrade you, I said softer. To install a patch called empathy. Saxon slumped. His shoulders dropped. The silver jacket seemed to lose its shine. What if? He hesitated. What if I fail? I have never done manual labor. My grip strength is below average. Then you will fail, I said simply. And you will try again and again. That is how humans learn. We don't download updates. We fall down and we get back up. I pointed to the exit. Officer Quinn, escort Mr. Musk to the transport and make sure he takes the shovel. It is his new best friend. Saxon grabbed the shovel handle. He held it awkwardly, like a baseball bat. He turned to leave, his Yeezy boots squeaking on the floor. He didn't look like a futuristic conqueror anymore. He looked like a gardener on his first day. As he reached the door, he stopped. He turned back, looking at the empty box where his phone and AR glasses were locked away. Will I, Saxon asked, his voice small, will I get my data back? When you finish the 1000th tree, I promised, and not a minute sooner. But I have a feeling, I added, that by the time you come back you won't miss the screen as much as you think. You might actually enjoy looking at the real world for a change. Saxon didn't reply. He just nodded, a small glitchy nod. He pushed the heavy wooden door open with his shoulder, carrying the rusty tool into the daylight. The door closed. Thud. I turned my chair to the camera. The courtroom felt quiet, human, and wonderfully analog. We are racing toward the future, I said to the lens. We want self-driving cars, brain chips, and trips to Mars. We want to optimize everything. But there is no app for character, there is no algorithm for kindness, and you cannot code respect. Sometimes, the best way to move forward is to stop, get out of the car, and put your hands in the dirt. Don't let the simulation make you forget that you are real. I'm Judge Frank Caprio. Touch grass.